5 signs that somebody is high on crystal meth. And I'm probably going to share a lot more than these 5 signs, and whatever I miss, comment down below because I'm going to run through these. Crystal meth is one of those drugs that you can, if you know what you're looking for, kind of tell if a family member or friend or kid or somebody is on meth. And it's easier than like cocaine is because meth lasts for so long in your system. The dopamine flood from meth is going to be anywhere from 5 to 7 hours, depending on the meth itself and what exactly the potency is. So you have a long time to try and figure out what is this person on. And there's some very distinct sides of being high on meth. If you're new to my channel, hit the like and follow button, comment your experience down below. The first one is your eyes. Eyes get dilated right away. So if somebody comes out of the bathroom or out of somewhere and they have very dilated eyes, and they are exhibiting the rest of this, they're probably high on meth. That is one of the side effects of meth, is that your eyes and pupils do dilate, and it's a big dilation. Like, you can tell their pupils are dilated. Their eyes look almost black. Another sign that somebody is high on meth is that they are moody. They are up and down and medium and up and down, and they're all over the board mood-wise. And the reason that they are is meth is going to flood your brain with a ton of dopamine. That's a reward center, the feel-good center, the big mood energy center, the hyper-focused. But it's also going to flood norepinephrine, serotonin. And the big one is that serotonin flood is your cognitive functions and your mood stabilizer. So your mood stabilizer now is completely thrown off. And so you can't control these moods. And little things can set somebody off with meth all of a sudden. You almost think that they're bipolar or something's wrong, because they can go from happy and laughing to angry all of a sudden to this huge temper, and you don't even know where this came from because maybe you said something and now they're just pissed. Their mood cannot stabilize itself out. And so if you notice that their mood is fluctuating a lot in a period of an hour even, probably on meth of some sort. It's hard to see like some of the other signs where, unless they've snorted it, they're not going to be messing with their nose. You're not going to be able to really smell it if they've smoked meth. Even if they smoked it in the house, the smell dissipates so quickly. If they IV'd it, you usually can't tell unless you're really, really looking, or they're very obvious track marks. I've known a lot of people who put it in like coffee and drink it. The other part, you're going to see a lot of like grinding of the teeth and a lot of mouth function. And the reason that you do is part of the flood of like dopamine and all will tighten these jaw muscles. And it is kind of like a reflex that starts kicking in. So you will notice like the grinding of the teeth. There's some sensory with it, that just how it sounds in your head and all this makes it like comforting. And so you do it. You're not drinking any water. You're not eating at all because the stimulant's overriding all that appetite. And again, I know these are more than 5 signs, but you want to look for as many of these in one that could maybe give you an idea if somebody is using. The next thing is that sometimes we'll get hyper focused on things. They're going to talk a lot. They'll be very vocal and talkative. That's one of the things that happens when you get flooded with dopamine. You usually can't shut up and you just start talking about a lot of nonsense. A lot of it isn't making any sense and their thought process is jumping all over the place. If it's flooding with a lot of serotonin, they sometimes will have meth mites, which if you don't know what meth mites are, that's when somebody starts picking and scratching at their skin. They feel like they have bugs on their skin. It is a sensory overload from that flood of serotonin. They'll start picking at their face. These are physical hallucinations. Sometimes they'll be hearing stuff. They'll be like, dude, did you hear this? What was that over there? And you're like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm not hearing anything. But they're very sporadic and it's very short little bursts. Like, did you hear that? What's that over there? Because they're hearing stuff that you're not hearing. Same when it comes to just hallucinations themselves. They'll see shadows moving. Especially the longer and longer that they're using meth, or if they're on a bender, the shadow people are going to become more and more real, especially with those hallucinations, because it's such a flood of serotonin and all this in their brain that they can't differentiate. They think that it's real. And I've used meth before. I've snorted meth before. It's not a drug of choice of mine. And I do share for educational purposes only. And this isn't to diagnose if somebody's on meth, by the way. These are just some of the common signs, because it's really hard to tell if people are on drugs or not. If you really think that somebody's on meth, start going through and seeing if you could find foils that are burned, if they're smoking foils, or if you can find cotton swabs that smell very chemically, or in cups where maybe that's what they're wiping out their bowl with, or if you can find that in a spit rag. You could find kind of the concoctions of maybe that they're smoking it together. That's actually one of the easiest ways I've ever found to tell somebody who's on meth, is if I could find like the purple vomit that sometimes happens from it, the red vomit, usually in the sink. And by the sink then would be a cotton swab and like a cup of some sort, and it would have some of that residue liquid that just, man, there's no smell like the smell of that. Like, that's not from this planet. This is not from this earth. Like, that's bad. I knew they were smoking meth. I could look and I'd find usually like some tissues or stuff that were kind of wet in like the trash or whatever. It's hard to really tell. You know, you have to find out where they're disappearing off to. A lot of times you're going to go to a garage, or you're going to go to a bathroom, or you're going to go to your room. These are signs of like meth usage. And when it comes to them putting it in like coffee or snorting it and stuff, you're probably not going to find it. They might have a rolled up bill or something somewhere. The thing is it's not like cocaine high. It is, you can tell when people are high on stimulants, that hyper focus, a lot of talking in your face. There are a lot all of a sudden in some cases, especially if they're not ADHD, but you're going to see this personality shift. Drugs do change your personality, especially like crystal meth. So if you're like, man, what's happened with you today? They're off today. They have a history that they've used before. You have to kind of use your detective skills and kind of put this all together and going, okay, they might be using, and these signs are all starting to match up. When it comes to, you know, other things in their habits, you know, their body temperature is usually thrown off a little bit, so they're going to be sweating. They're not going to be as sociable. They're going to be a little bit more sometimes reclusive and wanting to try and clean. They got to be active, and it's a chaos active. Like maybe they start cleaning all of a sudden randomly, and you're like, what are you doing? And they're just sweeping, and they just got to sweep because they can't sit down. These again are signs that they could be on meth, and you're looking for the longevity in this because again, cocaine high is very different than a crystal meth high because cocaine's only going to last in your system 15, 20 minutes, and then it just crashes you out. And you're not having the same type of energy almost that you do with crystal meth. And that's why I wish it was easier to really tell if somebody was on meth or to tell if somebody was on drugs. And it's almost like all you have to really look for are these pattern behaviors. When people start shifting away priorities, maybe their kids aren't a priority anymore, and they start coming up with excuses, and they're weird excuses. You're looking for excuses like a friend has had some stuff go down that's made them late, and they couldn't show up on time to pick up their kid because they were late helping some friend, you know, they've gotten into some stuff. Their kid's not a priority. It's very gray of what they're telling you, but they couldn't be here. Some friend, you don't even know what friend. None of this is making sense. What are you using? You're probably using meth. Again, these are just those common signs, and it's hard. The easiest way, of course, is to have somebody do a P test. But again, if they're not using, they're probably going to just do the P test to show you that they're not using. I will say that. If they are using, they're going to probably get very defensive. The one thing I will say is, like, if you confront an addict when they have relapsed or they are using, they get very defensive, and it's like they have to be over the top in their defensive to try and prove a point that they're not high or they're not using, even though they are using, if that makes sense. And I think any addict out there knows. Like, if we are sober and you're like, hey, are you on something? We're like, no, why? And that's it. It's not this huge deal. But man, if we really have, we're like, oh no, they caught us. And so we have to like put on a bigger show of why would we do this, more aggressive of why we're not high than anything, because we think we have to like overcompensate because it has shown up, then they know that we're high. Like I mentioned though, again, I share for educational purposes only. Hopefully maybe this helps somebody out there go, let me do a little bit more digging, or let me P-test my kid or my husband or my wife or whatever. Because that's what it's about, man, is protecting yourself. This isn't, maybe the addict out there who watches this goes, dude, I don't want to use anymore and I don't want to be like this anymore. I hope so. But I also hope that it protects and helps a family out. When it comes to getting sober, no right or wrong way of getting sober. Just find what works for you. Rehab's amazing. There's nothing wrong with going to rehab. I got down below. I have Refined Recovery. They're amazing. They're in Beverly Hills. You know, inpatient treatment, outpatient treatment, get with the therapist and coping skills and just everything that you need to get sober and a plan. And you got to really make it your identity, man. You have to want sobriety in a sense. Download Sunflower Sober. I got them down below. It's an app, Sunflower Sober, on iOS and Google. Start tracking your days of sobriety. Talk to Sam, your AI sponsor. You got 24-hour AI sponsor support. You know, you have a community there. You have tools there. You have resources there, journaling there, therapists there. You have everything in Sunflower Sober you need to get sober and stay sober. Go to an AA meeting, an NA meeting, an Al-Anon meeting. There's tons of different meetings out there. Go to one. Get addicts in your life who are in recovery. They'll keep you accountable, and it's nice to have friends and not do this by yourself. Go to a doctor, a psychiatrist, a therapist, get on the right meds, get the right treatment, the right diagnoses, and just all of this combined, finding what works for you is what's going to push you through. And we do recover. I mean, again, comment down below, hit the like and follow button. It's so nice to know that you're not alone on this journey. And if this helps with your family members and realizing that, hey, maybe you have to set up some healthy boundaries with maybe an ex or a baby daddy or a baby mama because they are using or relapsed again, hopefully this helps you kind of, hey, refreshes what you really need to look for to protect yourself and protect your family, because that's what it's all about. We as addicts are going to destroy everything around us. And it's up for us to get sober and for us to get clean. We have to hit rock bottom, just destroy our life and finally go, you know what, I want to get clean for me. But also for a family, you got to protect yourself from this because we are going to destroy so much along the way. And that is who it is for. I mean, for the ones out there getting sober though, I'm proud of you. Don't give up. It does get better. You're worth it.